apple cider is hands down my favorite hot drink. And I'm going to show you how to make homemade apple cider today. I'm going to show you how you can make a big pot of it to have on your stovetop if you're having a get together or something. You want everybody to be able to get their own cup of cider. And I'm also going to show you how to can it, which is what that's what I'm going to do today, because I like to have this in the pantry where I can get it out and just heat some up for myself. So apple cider today, and I'm going to show you how to do it with a juicer. You could just take your pieces of apples and oranges and things and put them on the stovetop whole. You're going to have to cook it down a little bit longer than you would if you juice it. And I feel like a juicer just really gives good apple flavor. So we're going to use the juicer today. This is the AMZCHEF juicer. It's a slow cold press juicer. And here's the thing with juicers, y'all. I feel like, or I've always felt in the past, like you had to pay high dollar to get a juicer that was going to be good quality and really do what you wanted it to do. This one's the exception. Price-wise, it's about middle ground when it comes to juicers, but it performs like a high dollar juicer in my opinion. You can also catch really good sales on it on Amazon, coupons. If I have a coupon, I'll put it down in the description box for you and a link so that you can find it. And you can do all kinds of things with this. You can make juice to drink, things like apple cider like we're doing today. You could do oat milk, almond milk, all kinds of things with this juicer. I know it looks like there's a bunch of parts, but it comes together super easy. I thought I'd show you how it all kind of fits together. This auger piece goes right in there. Filter right over the top. It has arrows to show you how everything locks into place. And there's a little button here, so when you're putting it on, you want to listen for the click, and then when you go to take it off, there's a little button that you can press that will release it. It also came with, I thought I'd show you this, it came with this tool, so if you need help tightening or loosening things, you can put this on and use the handle to help you if you need help locking or unlocking things. And it came with a brush, which is really, really nice. It has a bigger brush end, and then it has a smaller brush end that flips. It actually has a scraper, so when you're cleaning, if you need to scrape something off, get into all the little places, that's pretty handy. This goes on the top. This is where you're gonna feed your fruits and vegetables and things through. You can face it either way, whichever one works best for you. And then it has these 2 cups. It'll hold up to 24 ounces. And it has a spot, you just slide it under, has its own little place to sit in here and stay secure. And that's where you're going to catch your juice. And then this is going to catch the pulp, the discard that's going to come out the end. And it has a plunger to help you push things down through your juicer. I've got my bowl of apples. I also went ahead and I zested my orange because I want to put that in my pot. But then I peeled it and got a lot of that pith, that white part off because I don't like to juice that. Some people do. I don't. So I've got my orange in here. Again, you could just cut it in half and throw it in your pot if that's what you wanted to do. And then I cut my apples in pieces small enough that they would fit in. And that's the cores, stems, and everything. For the recipe that I'm going to show you today, you're going to want about 12 to 15 apples depending on their size. And then 1 orange. This is also something you could do with apple scraps. So say you make applesauce and you have a lot of cores and peels left over, you can run them through your juicer and make apple cider with them. Now, if you were only going to be using apple scraps like cores and peels, I would probably use the cores and peels from 25-ish apples. But since we're doing the whole apples today, we can go 12 to 15. You could also, as you're making things with apples or eating apples, you could throw your cores and your peels in a bag in the freezer until you had enough to do this with. So it's also something you could do with apple scraps. I moved you in a little closer so you could see what I'm doing. It's really as simple as just turning it on and letting the fruit go through. It has an on, off, and a reverse. So if something was to get hung up, you could turn it to reverse and it would go the other way and help unclog it. But I I don't feel like that's going to be a big issue with this juicer in my experience. Go ahead and put my oranges through first. As long as you have your pieces where they fit in here nicely, you don't really have to give it much pressure. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause right here just for a second and show you what this pulp looks like and show you what I'm doing with this to kind of get it ready for the cider. This right here is relatively dry. Not able to squeeze anything else out of it. Now for my cider, I am going to go ahead and put this in my pot as well because we're going to strain it at the end. So any extra flavor and nutrients that's in there, we can benefit from. So I'm just going to keep juicing these, and as my cup starts to get full, I'm just going to start pouring it over in my pot. If you're new, my name is Tiffany. This is from Mamaw's Kitchen. I share a lot of old-fashioned recipes and skills, a lot of which I learned from my Mamaw in her kitchen. I would love to have you stick around and be part of our YouTube family. I have this channel, and then we also have a family vlogging channel. It's called Our Small Town Life. We live in a small town in rural Alabama and invite you to just be a little part of our life. And we thank you for letting us be a little part of yours.
All the juice that you push off.
You push it a little bit farther. There you go. Yeah, the juice comes out here, and then the pulp comes out there. Some of those pieces might be big. I'm cutting them a little smaller so they'll fit easier. Put your hand on top of these and stuff and push. Okay, good job. Right now, hand it now. Go push. Go push.
Yeah, it's all raw.
You just chugged the whole thing. The boys say drinking juice from the juicer tastes like real apples, where store-bought apple juice it doesn't taste like real apples anymore, does it? No. You like it from the juicer better? Mm-hmm. Yes. So in my pot, I have all of my juiced apples and peels. I'm wondering if I should separate this out into two separate pots. I don't really have a stock pot, and I'm going to be water bath canning this, so I'm going to use my water bath canner in just a little while. Let me go ahead and put my water in and see just how much we fill this up. I may have to separate it, but I'm going to put my water in. So when you see people make apple cider, they're going to say anywhere from 12 cups of water for this amount of apples all the way up to 16 cups of water. I find that somewhere right in the middle seems to be best for me, so about 14 cups. See if I can fit this in. I got the rest of my water, getting it right up to about 14 cups. I think we're going to be able to fit it. And then as far as spices, that's going to be up to you. Traditionally, you're going to see cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves. I'm out of nutmeg right now. So I'm going to put my cinnamon, my cloves, and I did save the zest off of that orange that we juiced. So I have about a teaspoon of whole cloves, 3 cinnamon sticks. You could use ground cloves. You could use ground cinnamon if you wanted. And then my orange zest. Cloves are something you want to be careful with though, because there's some pretty, it's strong flavor. And you can always cook this, and then if you think it needs more spice, you could add some more in. If you think it needs more sugar, you could add some in. I am going to go grab some sugar. You could use maple syrup. You could use honey. You could use coconut sugar. I'm just going to use pure cane sugar today. You could use brown sugar. Let me go grab it though because I did not bring it. I'm going to do half a cup of my sugar. Stir that in. And I'm going to bring this to a boil. As soon as it starts boiling, I'm going to turn it down to a very slow simmer. And we're going to let this stay here simmering on the stove for probably 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. I'm going to put a lid on it and just let all of these flavors marry together, do their thing. And then after that, we can strain it and could either serve it or can it like we're going to do today. And if you did not juice your apples, I would probably let it go for an extra hour and take a potato masher and mash them as you go. So what this would look like, water with the big pieces of apple in it. I would have definitely had to do it in more than one pot if I was doing it that way. I'll see you back here. Well, it'll be just a second for you. It'll be a couple of hours for me when we strain this and put it in our jars. My cider went on my stovetop for a little over 2 hours. And now I'm just straining it through, I got a flour sack towel that I put over a mesh strainer and then over a pot. You could use cheesecloth, but I didn't have any. So using a flour sack towel. And I've run all this through the towel, set it aside over here in a bowl, and I'm going to run it through one more time, just working out all of the cider. When this got close to done, I tasted it and I felt like it needed some more spice. I like mine really spicy, so I put in another teaspoon of ground cinnamon this time. And then I put in some pumpkin pie spice. I didn't have apple pie spice, but pumpkin pie spice has cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, allspice, the flavors that you would put in apple cider. So I put 1 to 2 teaspoons of that. I also put another quarter cup of sugar because I wanted it a little sweeter. That's all personal preference though. Now we're straining it. I have my water bath canner sitting over on the stove heating up. I've got my jars in it because our cider's hot. We need our canner to be hot, our jars to be hot. So I've got that ready. I'm going to take a little bit of this at a time and give it a good twist. It's still hot, so you have to be careful. But I'm going to get all of that cider out that I can. I filled up 3 quarts. If you're doing pints, that would be 6 pints. And when I do something that's very liquidy like this, one, you don't have to debubble it because there's no air bubbles in there. And I usually fill it up right at the bottom, like where the neck of the jar starts, where it would thread the ring on. That's what I do with things that are very liquidy. It's about an inch head space. I'm wiping the top with a paper towel that has a little bit of vinegar on it, wiping around the rim, make sure there's nothing there that's going to prevent a seal. And I'm going to put this back in my water bath canner. I have a little bit left over as well that I'm going to go ahead and fix me a cup of apple cider. And these are going to process for 10 minutes once my water comes up to a boil in my canner. Technically, they only have to go for 5. I like to do 10. If you're only going to do 5 minutes, then you need to sterilize your jars beforehand. If you do 10 minutes, then your jars and everything gets sterilized in the water bath. So quarts and pints would be the same amount of time. Y'all, that is so good. It's perfect. Dishwasher's going. Mickey Mouse is playing. Real life. Y'all, I was thinking about it. And going ahead and making this ahead and having it in your pantry, it's the perfect make-ahead thing for those holiday get-togethers. One less thing you have to do on the day of. You can just pull it out of the pantry and reheat it. I'm going to show you what those jars look like coming out of the canner, but before I do, I want to be sure to tell you, y'all get in the kitchen and make some memories with the people you love. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all. It's good. A special thank you to AMZCHEF for sending us that juicer that we used in today's video. Y'all, we've really been enjoying it. If it's something that you would be interested in, I'll be sure to put a link in the description box.